Hey, East Coast. Welcome, welcome. I'll be right back. I'm going to go and see if I can clean this out my charging port. Right back.
Up, everybody. Dusty, Brenda. How's it going, guys? I gotta come on here since Paul's not. It's disappeared. How long has he been gone for? I just clicked on the YouTube, noticed he wasn't there. Into a store, be right back. All right. Hopefully they got the right cream that Dusty needs.
Hey, Justin.
Uh,
I was out taking some alcohol and trying to clean out the port on my.
Is it still coming up with that battery error?
No, my phone charger.
Uh,
My phone charger won't engage.
it's the charger or the phone?
The phone. I go to stick the thing into the phone, and I think it's got gunked up over the years. The receptacle. Because
Yeah.
look at. I don't know if you can see or not. See that? That just came out of there.
Out of the phone port?
Yeah.
Be careful though. Don't jam too far in there. So you don't want to bend the
Oh,
charging pad.
Well, Justin was just asking where you were. It just isn't the same without you being here.
I know.
What you could do, Paul, too, is turn the phone off and just dump some alcohol in the port and let it sit in there for a minute or two. It's not going to hurt it.
Justin, how you doing?
And, what's up?
Oh, you haven't got
I'll eat up all the gunk in there and loosen it up. So.
Yeah, go on.
There you go.
It's all there.
Let's see.
Okay, let's not look at your face. There we go.
Ken Gottlieb, we got Alex, and yeah, we got Jesus over here. We got Uncle Bill. Tony's over there, and then got Pasquale over there. He's got and then we got
Oh
all
wow,
this
there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
I thought it was only going to be like 4 or 5 people.
South Florida drone fly, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah.
Hey, Paul.
TJ's from North Florida. Don't listen to him.
I'm from North Florida. Don't listen.
Friggin' northerner. What's up, Laura?
Alex, what editing program?
Look,
Oh,
look
Laura,
all this
don't-
food we got.
Laura, don't say that kind of things to TJ.
Uncle Bill's live too. Uncle Bill's here. Oh.
Good cooking, Al.
All right, well, I'm gonna go get my eat on. I just wanted to pop in for a few and say hey.
Yeah, show us all that food and then leave. Yeah.
Look, there's Uncle Bill.
Whose stream is it?
Paul's. Oh, hey, Paul. And then Justin's
Paul.
on.
Paul's not there. He walked off again.
Yeah, Paul always walks off for some crazy reason. I can let his dog out. And then,
I Paul's monitor.
yeah, Paul's empty chair, Paul's monitor. Yeah.
All right. Well, have fun, TJ.
All right, we'll see y'all later. All right.
Uh-huh. All right, TJ left. He's gonna go. He was going to go eat.
Oh yeah, they were cooking something. TJ wouldn't be too far behind,
Yeah, a little early to be eating freaking hamburgers and stuff. It's 9 o'clock. They should have waited till like 10 or 11 to make lunch.
Yes.
Shit, I'd have come out there with the Blackstone grill top, make some breakfast food. Screw lunch food. I'm out there with some eggs and bacon and sausage. Make some pancakes. I meant to ask TJ if that was Tony from New York or he didn't say. Or if that's a different Tony. So I couldn't see because it was all blurry.
Tony, Momoni, Banana, Nana, Fofoni.
No.
Okay, it seems to be working better, but not as fast as it normally charges. Laura says she's going live after we do. Justin,
Yeah, I know it's her Sunday live.
she's looking for you.
Yeah, she usually goes live in the afternoon on Sundays.
That's 5 hours difference. Yeah, so it's 1 o'clock there, right?
Not her afternoon, our afternoon. Usually it's like 11 or 12 our time when she goes
Oh, okay.
live. Normally, that's when she goes live. It's around that time.
Laura says she would never, ever say anything horrible about TJ.
Oh, Laura, Amanda, and Sophie were laughing their asses off last night with Matt and Tim. Sophie actually stuck around for a while. She played like probably for a couple hours or at least an hour or two after you left. Amanda gave up a little bit before Sophie. She left, and then Amanda stuck around, played a few more games, and then she took off.
Now, do you have tomorrow off for Veterans Day or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's a federal holiday. Schools take off for sure. Sarah's got to work, but I
It's
don't.
raining hard here, and it's going to rain all day long.
Yeah, and then I go back for 4 days, have 2 days off, go back for a week, and then the 9 days for Thanksgiving starts. So I'll be off for 9 days straight. Oh, I know, but they were up playing late. Oh, I said Sophie stuck around for a minute after Amanda left. They both got hooked up on my channel, which is pretty cool. So what's up, Mark? Brenda says good morning, Paul.
Good morning. As you can see, it's raining pretty hard here.
Not really. It's not that heavy. At least it doesn't look like it on the cameras. What's up, Mark?
Hi, good morning.
Oh, you so cheerful for this morning.
Not really cheerful.
You win
Mr.
a scratch?
Chippy.
You win some money on the lottery or something?
I wish. But I did actually, but it was only like £3.30.
The most I ever won off a scratch off was $150. That's it. Off the lottery. That was a scratch off. I spent $10 on a ticket, won 150. So I went back in, cashed it in, spent my original 10, bought another ticket, and
Mhm.
lost it, and then I walked away with $140.
That's not too bad.
No, that's what I do. If I win, say I spend $5, I win $10, I'll spend the original 5. And then
Yeah.
if I don't win again, then I just walk away.
Mm. I think the highest win I've had on our lottery is £184. But, you know, in the end, you still put on a lot more money than you win, unless you win big.
Well, it depends if you're playing, like, if you're a consistent player that's playing all the time. Like, I know people do that spend $100 a week in scratch offs.
Morning, Brenda.
But like, I'm the type of person, I might go buy 1 or 2 a month, if that.
Yep, you're right,
Sometimes I
Brenda.
go
No
months
flying
without playing.
today.
Yeah, I don't even bother with scratch cards.
I might spend maybe $100 a year on scratch offs, if that.
I mean, I'm putting my numbers on the Euro Millions lottery at the moment because it's got up to like 103, 104 million.
And honestly, it's better with scratch offs too, at least over here. It's better if you buy off the same roll instead of like one of like 3 different kinds of games.
Oh, yeah.
To buy 3 or 4 of the same game, because there has to be so many winners per book of tickets.
Yeah.
So that's so I tell people, don't go in and spend $40 and buy a $5 Monopoly game, a $5 crossword. Buy all crossword or all Monopoly.
Yeah.
Because your chances of winning are a little better.
Mm.
That's like that one guy I watched. He scratched a $1,500 book of tickets and ended up walking away with 1,800.
All right.
It was a few $100s up. I mean, it was like $400 up,
Mm.
but he bought a brand new book of tickets, so he knew there had to be some kind of winners in there.
Mm. Yeah.
Because it's a requirement there would be so many winners per book.
Oh, ours are actually on a roll rather than a book. But yeah. Mm.
You know, a lot of the ones here come flat, and then they get fed through a little dispenser, and then they pull it out and rip it and hand it to you. Unless it's a machine. I don't know how the machines do it. I've never seen the inside of one of the machines, so.
Mm.
Actually, no, that's a lie. I did, because I remember I bought a ticket at Publix, but I only got like a quick glimpse of it. But they had to open it up because my $5 ticket got stuck in the machine.
Mm.
So they opened it up and gave it to me.
And he still didn't win.
I can't remember. That was like a year ago or so. I don't remember if I won off those or not.
Mm. Yeah, it's very fine, drizzly rain here at the moment. The kind of rain that soaks you through.
Yeah, I don't think Paul's doing much flying, Brenda, today.
Nope.
Mm. I was over on Billy streaming that meetup they're having down in South Florida.
Yeah,
And then you
TJ
got
was
Johnny
just on
Drone
here.
Flyers on too.
Mm.
TJ was just on here from the meetup.
Yeah, I could hear him talking to you on Bill's stream. Mm.
I was kind of, I was just looking at my watch, and I'm like, damn, they're barbecuing pretty fucking early because it's only 9 o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning. I was like, I would have came out there and done a breakfast meetup. You know, you bring all their stuff out to make a good breakfast.
Mm.
Me, because I would have waited till at least 11 o'clock before I started making burgers and shit.
Yeah, it did seem a bit early, but they've all been there since 7, I think.
Really?
Mm.
I used to laugh when Dennis Lovelady would come to the meetups because that motherfucker would get there at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and he'd show up and he'd already be there, and he'd have like 10 tripods set up. Like he just had this whole massive setup. I'm like, Jesus.
Mm,
Like I said, whoever owns like whatever company he buys his tripods through, he's putting their kids through college. Just so you know. Because he's got like those big, expensive, like really nice tripods, not the little cheapy ones off Amazon. You know, these
yeah,
are the ones with the big old heavy duty legs and shit on
yeah.
them. And he'd always have like 5 or 6 of them set up, iPads everywhere, and I'm like, good God.
Mm.
Yeah, he looks like a walking studio when he gets out there and sets up. I'm sure Johnny's probably not going to be on much longer.
I don't know, he had quite a few people on.
He's been on for what? Let's see, hour and 20 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, he usually doesn't go more than a couple of hours at the most.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, what time is it there then? He's an
9:20.
hour.
He'll
Yeah,
be
he's an hour
8:20.
earlier than you, isn't he?
8:20 in the morning.
Yeah. So it's an hour past sunrise, pretty much.
They actually had a lot of people at that meetup. I was surprised. I thought it was only going to be like 4 or 5 people.
And they got 11, I think Bill was saying.
Yeah, there's a good amount there.
I
What's
don't
up,
know who that
Dusty?
girl was. I could hear a girl's voice talking, but I don't know who it was.
It was TJ. Dusty says it's never too early for hamburgers. Why am I not at the meetup? Because one, I don't have a drone, and two, I'm not driving 3 hours. No, I'm good.
Hmm.
I have no qualms to want to go down there. Trust me, I have no wants to want to go down there. They all must be at that Vegas meetup, huh? Because everybody looks like they're in hotels.
Yeah, I think most of them are.
Yeah, I forgot it. Yeah, I thought it was this week. Half
Uh,
those guys are going to end up leaving here pretty soon because they're going to have their day starting. All the guys that are in Vegas.
yeah, because they're 3 hours, aren't they?
Dude, I don't know if I could go
But
to
it's,
Vegas just to
it's
sit
6
around and
o'clock,
fly
20
drones,
past
bro.
6. Yeah, Lon came on from his hotel room last night on Bill.
On Bill's.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if I'd go to. I wouldn't want to go to Vegas just to sit around and fly drones for 3 days. Now, there's a lot more fun stuff to do in Vegas than fly a damn drone.
Yeah.
I'd be there. I'd be there like the first day for like half the day, and then I'd be gone. But later.
And there was just a glimpse of Billy wandering around the room in a whatever. And apparently, Lon said that Billy and Ken were going to go down to the casino.
Like I said, you give me about a half a day at the meetup, and I'd be gone the rest of the time. Later. I'd be
Mm.
finding other shit to do. 'Cause that's a lot of money to be spending just to go fly a drone for 3 days.
Well, they got the the waiver to go and fly the Sphere last night. Lon, Bill, and Kenny.
Yeah, you had to be 107 to do that.
Yeah.
You got to get authorization. Because Tom said they had a special flight just for 107 pilots to go down the strip and stuff, but you had to get all that stuff done before the
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah. He said that they got a bit bored of all the speeches that were going on and not leaving enough room for flying, so they went and buggered off somewhere to fly. I
Yeah,
mean,
Vegas is a fun place.
I think he said that like Dre paid for the drinks at the meet and greet up, or the first drink anyway. I think it was. He says, and then the meetup paid for the breakfast the next on Saturday morning. I would have thought, to be honest, the price of them bloody rooms it would have included breakfast.
Yeah, well, most of the restaurants and buffets that are in those casinos, sometimes, a lot of times, they're not owned by the casino. They're private restaurants that pay to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
They might do deals through them though, where like you might get like a 10% off coupon or something with your room or something like that. But
Mm. No, pretty much every hotel. I mean, you can book room only if you want to, but most will do bed and breakfast as a minimum.
Vegas is a fun spot to go to, but you got to have more than a few days if you want to experience the full Vegas. There's a lot of stuff you can do there. You go to Vegas, you want to go for like at least a week. That's why I said, like, I understand Tom's argument when he talks about, oh, when friends come into town, we want to take them off the strip, but it's like that's kind of why people come there because they don't live there all the time, so they don't get to see that stuff on the regular. I spent a lot of time in Vegas back in the day. But the crazy thing about Vegas is like 2 years after not being there, like you could not be there for 5 years and come back and shit will look completely different. What's up, Lance? Where'd Mark go? Where'd Mark go?
All of a sudden, Mark disappeared. Did he say anything to you, Justin?
No, we were talking about Vegas and then he just dropped out.
Just gone.
His phone might have died or
Oh,
pushed the
here
wrong
he's
button
back.
by accident.
Don't know what happened there. Everything went.
Yeah, I know. You were sitting there talking, and we were talking about Vegas, and all of a sudden it got real quiet, and you weren't answering me. I came back to the computer.
Couldn't hear anything at all. The whole thing just froze up. And Lance, has it done it again?
Doing it again?
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, it was just quiet. I couldn't make my mind up whether you were there then.
Oh yeah, I'm just eating some cereal.
But me Zoom pictures disappeared for some reason. It's better. Got it back now. Well, last night on Bill's show, mine kept on cutting out and disappearing and freezing, but he's using Restream, and I don't think it likes the phone.
Oh yeah, Restream and EveMux and all those, a lot of them have issues with the cell phones. The only two that just seem to be pretty stable with it is StreamYard and Zoom.
Yeah.
But StreamYard's really bad if you don't have a really good internet connection. Like
Mm.
if you're on a cell phone, it's really bad.
There shouldn't be anything wrong with the internet, but I've not run a speed test for a bit, so
Zoom, the only thing I don't like about Zoom on a computer is the amount of resources it eats up is ridiculous. I don't know what the hell they have running in that program, but it like if you go to your resources, like I could have Streamlabs, I could have the game running, and have my Riser Master running to check my temperatures. Like I can have 3 or 4 programs open when I'm streaming, no problem. I'll be at like 30, 35% of resources used with all that stuff running. But the minute I open Zoom up, it literally jumps up to like 70, 80%. It's ridiculous. I just don't understand what the hell it's doing that it needs to eat up that much resources.
wonder which internet frequency I'm on, because I've only got 123 down and 94 up.
Are you showing us your computers?
I'm trying to show Mia is on the couch. Let me see if I can get it. Cause I'm hand holding the camera.
Which one am I on?
No, she's right around the corner there. Anyway, I've got that picture that guy gave me of her
No, I'm
sitting
too
on the
blocked.
table right next to her. And there she is right next to her picture.
Mm.
So what's you're off tomorrow, so what's your plan? You just kind of hanging out or what?
Out the house?
Well, I would
Probably have any
imagine Laura's
plans.
not gonna let you not play Fortnite all day.
Yeah, that's better.
She's probably got you
I mean, I'm not going anywhere tomorrow,
your,
so I'll
your
just be here.
schedule all planned.
Oh, looks like Johnny went off the air.
Mm.
Not showing
Yeah.
live anymore.
I think I was on 2.4 instead of 5. I've now got 643 down and 103 up. That's better.
I had a girl on the bus the other day, and she asked me, she goes, "Why is this internet so slow on the bus?" I said, "Well, what's the problem?" She goes, "Well, I turned my VPN on, and it's just the internet in here sucks." I said, "You know that VPN's going to eat up like half your internet." And she goes, "Well, somebody at school told me that VPNs give you faster internet." I said, "No, they don't." I said, "If you connect to a server that's closer, if you can connect to like a server that's closer to you, you might get a better ping." I said, "But other than that, if you connect four states over, you're going to get a higher ping, and it's going to eat up your internet." I said, "You're going to literally lose like half your speed." She turns it off. Boom, her speed goes right back up. I said, whoever told you that at school's an idiot." I said, "All VPNs are really for is just to hide your IP address. That's it." But like on my computer, I'll get like 80 up and 1,000 down normally, right? But if I turn my VPN on and connect to like the nearest, so the next nearest server that I'm not using is Jacksonville. Normally I'm connected to Tampa on the default, right? With our internet service, which is not that far from me. But the next closest one is Jacksonville. The minute I connect to Jacksonville, I'll go down to like 30 up and like 400 down. Like because the ping is way higher, you know?
Yeah, I don't know where the server is that I'm connected to. But I mean, it's supposed to be 1,000 down, but I never get more than about 750 at the
Have you
like
ever tested it
40 at the
hardwired though? Because you're never going to get that doing Wi-Fi through Wi-Fi.
yeah. Well, you don't hardwire the phone.
No, but I'm saying, have you ever tested it on one of your computers plugged into the router?
No,
I bet you if you did, you'd get that 1,000.
because my
Because like,
router's upstairs.
because like my computer, if I go onto Wi-Fi, I'll get like 40 up and like 600 or 700 down. But the minute I plug in, it goes way up. I'll hit that 80 up and I'll start getting around 9 to 980 down.
I still get 100 up, but it drops to 640. Well, at the moment it's 640 down and 103 up. But that's only on 5 gigahertz. If you drop down to the 2.4 gigahertz band on it, then I only get 103 up and 93 down. No, 103 down and 93 up. So the 2.4 gives you a lot less speed but more range.
Right.
And
yeah, I've never gotten full speed on our internet being on Wi-Fi, but I have them something plugged into it.
Because I split mine. I haven't got them combined so that they automatically pick the best frequency. I've split them into 2 separate ones.
Just is on my computer.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah, so on my computer, I'm getting 82 up and 903 down.
What are you up to today, Dre?
Oh, just slowly moving around a little bit. We'll be packing up, heading back home here in a couple hours.
You're in Vegas?
Yeah, we're in Vegas now.
Said half the people on Johnny's show, you could tell, are in hotel rooms.
Yeah.
How many people are there, Dre?
I say Friday night was packed. Friday night, Saturday, Saturday morning for the breakfast event. I think we had about roughly 30 there for that. Friday night, plus we were splitting the tavern with the regular customers, so it's hard to get a hard count. But I would say we dominated the space, which could probably hold about 100 people. But I think we were the dominant group there for that. And I didn't make it out to the fly part because my wife took ill a little bit there. I think something she ate. But
well, that's not good.
That's not good.
Yeah. But other than that, I think it was a great turnout for the first event. Very well put together. It was just a good time overall. Like I said, when you go to these things, I guess I use the term press in the flesh. You actually get to meet people that you see online in chat groups and Facebook groups and everything else. And it was a good time actually getting to sit down and talk with people. I sat down with Marcus and his wife for at least a good hour or so and talk with Lon and several other people, that were there.
Now the question is, did you get the $18 Snickers bar out of the mini bar?
Well, like I said, I don't stay at the regular hotels. I say I'm part of my timeshare group. That's what we did. We stay here at our timeshare. That's always my thing is why am I going to spend money when I have a place to stay that it's already paid for?
Oh,
So-
Dre was one of those suckers that got stuck in his timeshare to get a free 50-inch TV.
Morning, Joe.
Yeah, so I guess I was only about 15 minutes away from the where the main meetup was at, as far as the tavern and stuff. So it wasn't bad at all.
Mm. So did you have to book the weekend with the timeshare well in advance to make sure you could get it?
Right, yeah. Like as soon as they announced that they were having this event, I went on and booked it. Plus, this is November is an off-season time, so it wasn't hard to get a spot for the most part. This is not the peak of the tourist time.
Right.
Vegas is year-round, but like I say, you get closer to the summer, stuff like that, where people really come out, like travel when they get a chance to. Yeah, you might find a little harder to get a spot. This time of year, it wasn't hard at all.
It's Veterans Weekend, though, isn't it? Plus,
Yeah, and that's why I was shocked. I was shocked,
big
Mark, that
conference.
my
Some
wife
big
and I
conference on there.
I was kind of shocked. We went to South Point Casino. And, it's one of the larger ones here in the city, just south of the main strip. And I was telling my wife yesterday, I said it's not as crowded as I anticipate, especially for a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt there was a lot of empty seats, out there on the slot machine floor that I thought it'd be a lot more full. I really did. I thought it'd be a lot
South
more
Point.
full for a full.
Has that been there a
Most
while?
people took the full 4-day weekend. They took Friday off and Monday's a holiday.
Yeah.
What did you say, Justin?
South Point Casino, that's been there for a while, hasn't it? Yeah.
I think I built it maybe about 10 years ago or so.
Yeah, I've been by it. Yeah, I recognize it.
Yeah, I
I was
mean,
looking at pictures of it. It sounded familiar.
South Point is, I don't know if you've ever been inside the Orleans. It's a self-contained, when I say self-contained, it has like a 4-screen, 6-screen multiplex theater. It has a 20-something plus lane bowling alley. Has about at least 4 or 5 different restaurants from, the family-friendly ones to the high-end steakhouses inside. You never
Kind of
have
like
to
a little city within the building.
Yeah, you never have to go outside if you don't want to.
Mm.
So
Yes,
yeah,
that's what they call them resorts, isn't it?
well, yeah, it's a resort without having the property of a resort. It's all in one large building, and you park in the parking structure, and you walk in, and you never have to walk back out unless you actually want to leave the building.
Now, is the
itself.
parking structure attached so you just park and then walk in, or?
The parking structure is attached. You walk when you park your car, you walk into doors, catch the elevator, go down to the main floor, and you walk right into the casino floor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like the old days when you'd go and they'd be like, all right, so what you want to do is walk a half mile down the casino floor, make a left, then make 2 rights, and then make another left, and you're the 3rd bank of elevators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you want to go up 5 floors, make 2 more rights. Like, yeah, that's how it used to be back in the day. It was like confusing as shit.
Yeah. Basically,
so
what
I'd
you
say-
want to do is go back out, park your car in the parking structure, and get a taxi back to the casino.
Mhm. Yes, I mean, they still got the regular parking out front, large, probably about 15 acres worth of parking spots on the outside, but they got like a 5-6 level parking structure. And I found a parking spot right on the 2nd level. So we parked the car, walked about, I would say maybe 15 spaces, walked right in the door, caught the elevator, went downstairs, walked right in. Easy.
Hey, Dre, I heard they're tearing down some of the older casinos. Is that going
Yeah,
on?
yeah, there's some of them, they have, you know, here in Vegas, it's a matter about, you know, keeping up with the Joneses or other developments. And things like I think it's the Mirage is gone, the old, Flamingo, that's when I think they just, was it
Which
Flamingo
one was
or,
the Hard Rock bought? Hard Rock just bought one of them.
yeah, I think it's Flamingo or Tropicana, one of those two is where they had the big implosion with the drone light show behind it during the implosion part and stuff. And like I say, one of them's being replaced with a brand new Major League Baseball stadium. So there's going to be Major League Baseball
Yeah, that's the
down
Mirage.
on the strip.
What's that, Joe?
That's where the Mirage is at. What they're
Yeah.
gonna do.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, that, you know, they're really building the area up to be more inclusive of everything that you want to do in Vegas, you can do right there in Vegas. The football stadium is at the north end of the strip, just across the 15 freeway is where the football stadium's at, which is probably about a couple of blocks from the Orleans casino. And now you're talking about building this Major League Baseball stadium for the Athletics when they move out of Oakland, for them to settle there, and that's going to be right down on the strip. And then they got that new sphere, dome-shaped event center and
Mhm.
everything,
That's
where they're
wild.
holding concerts at and everything else. So basically, everything's going to be pretty much walking, or you can probably catch a little shuttle bus. Cause that's what a lot of things they do now. They have shuttle buses that take you from one hotel to go to the strip and all this kind of stuff. So you can show up in Vegas the way they're setting it up, park your car, and never have to use your car again. You can
Got a
just
lot
get
of
on
places to
some kind of
lose your
shuttle.
money.
Well, they
Yeah,
have a
well, I think-
tram system that runs down the strip too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that there's always some kind of shuttle bus, tram system, something like that to get you from point A to point B or within walking distance of it. So, like I said, you can park your car and never have to drive it again while you're here if you figure out all these different little shuttle services. And they usually run on the hour. So it ain't like you're waiting for a long time. You know, plan out what you're doing and say, oh yeah, it's almost, 12 o'clock. Let's go down here to where the tram picks us up. Like the one at my resort where I'm at, it goes every hour. It'll drop you off at Circus Circuit. No, not Circus Circus.
It was a
Excalibur.
Tropicana, Lance.
Excalibur, and it drops you off there and picks you up at the Excalibur, which is at the top of the strip, near
Ray,
the
which
15th
which
freeway.
baseball club is moving there?
The Oakland A's.
Oakland A's.
And it was the Tropicana they tore down for the baseball stadium.
Yeah,
just
I knew it was
looked
one of them, Tropicana or
Yeah.
one of Flamingos or something. I know it was one of them. It's one of
Well,
one
it's
of,
like
I said
Circus
one of the originals.
Circus. Like Circus Circus. I've seen videos recently of some people that live in Vegas that decided they were going to do some hotel-like reviews. And I'll tell
Yeah.
you what, dude, Circus Circus looks like shit now. That's
It's
one that's
old.
probably gonna end up
It's
going.
considered
It's
one. It's
old.
considered
Yeah.
one of the old ones now. You know,
Yeah.
Circus, and like I say, Circus Circus was built, I think, in the 70s and stuff, and it was one of the first ones to be kind of family oriented,
Family, yeah,
to
they
get
had
families to
games and
come.
everything. Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. Vegas is always revising itself. You know.
Now I stayed at the MGM Grand way back when, back in the
Yeah.
old-
Vegas don't
Yeah.
care about historic buildings, dude. They'll rip it down and build something new.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh,
a bit
yeah.
crazy because I mean, a lot of people go to Vegas to see the old casinos that they've heard about, and
Well-
now most of them aren't there.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why the one place you can go to kind of get an older experience really is the sign graveyard. They take all the old signs from the old casinos and they have a
Well,
big
they still got
graveyard
the
that they
old
put 'em in.
part where you hear about
Downtown, right?
Fremont Street.
Yep.
Fremont Street usually has a lot of the older places, the little small
Like the Gold Nugget, I think is down
yeah,
there.
Nugget, stuff like that are off the main strip, but they're on Fremont Street.
Yeah.
They have redone a lot of Fremont Street though, not like rebuild the casinos, but they've like
Mhm.
revamped a lot of it
Yeah.
over the years,
Yeah.
and it's more modern
Used
looking
to
now.
be able to come out of one casino, walk down the sidewalk, go across the street, and go into like the Nugget, and then move
Yeah,
around.
Yeah, that's Fremont
they-
Street.
Yeah, that Fremont Street is more like that. The main strip is because they're so large and they're more resort built that you still walk next door, but it's the whole
It's a walk.
almost it's a walk. Like I say, each casino is almost like a block long itself.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah,
you're
they're fucking
The
huge.
funniest
walking
thing I
a
ever
little
saw,
bit.
I never was a regular to Vegas, but I was out there and in the early 70s, and I was at the Nugget downtown. And some guy, I was standing watching people playing the big crap table, and some guy muzzled his way up there, and he put $10,000 on the field.
Hmm.
Boom! It was gone. Then he pulled out of another pocket another wrapper of $10,000. Boom! Did it 3 times and then walked out talking to himself.
No kidding.
Oh, dude, if you went back, Paul, it looks. If you haven't been there since the '70s, dude, you wouldn't even recognize that
No, I
place.
probably wouldn't. No.
Dude, you could go back. You could just miss 10 years in Vegas and come back, and it might look completely
Be
different
lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
because of the shit they've added and new stuff they've put up.
Dude, I haven't been there in 20 years, so I wouldn't recognize it.
Oh yeah, definitely. After even 20 years, you wouldn't recognize it.
My sister
Yeah.
lives there.
So I mean, that,
Problem is, I don't want to see her, so.
yeah. But like I said, that's what keeps Vegas fresh because they keep rebuilding, tearing out old stuff and rebuilding new stuff every decade or so. So I mean, people who grew up hearing about it when they show up, it's totally new stuff. It's nothing that's old for any extended period of
Is the
time.
northern
that's
part
just-
of the
that's
strip
just
still
proof
kind
that
of
the-
crap?
That's just proof that the casinos are making big bucks, right?
Well, like I said, they playing on your money.
Yep.
Yeah, they make money.
Is the
Yeah.
northern part of the strip still kind of janky? Because that was
No,
always
I
kind
think
of.
it's in the north. Like I say the oldest casino in the north end is Excalibur, and then right across the street from that is the. I went
Yeah,
to
but
see
you
the
had
You got
the
the
southern
pyramid still
part
there.
of but you had the southern part of the strip,
Lexor.
and then you had that one section of all the old junky buildings, and then you get up into the northern part, and there was a few casinos up there, but it was like it wasn't as popular as the southern part of the strip.
Well, like I said, the Bellagio sits right against the 15 freeway on the
Yeah.
north end of the strip. And the 15 freeway is kind of like the top of the north end, right there. So you get the Bellagio on the south, on the west side of the street, and then you got the Excalibur on the east side of the street. And then it goes down from there. I think you had the somebody said the
I think you got Lexor, and then you got New York, New York.
Lexor. Yeah, that's it, Lexor.
Yeah.
And then, New York is close by, and all that kind of stuff. 'Cause what used to be the MGM Grand and the other ones that have been torn down, they've been replaced.
Now the
MGM Grand
is the
torn down?
Flamingo still there?
I think they revamped it. I think they rebuilt the MGM Grand. I know at one point they were talking about tearing it down, but I think they just revamped it and expanded
Wow.
it.
Yeah, some of those casinos will get a couple of like restorations, and then eventually
Yeah.
they'll rip them
I
down.
think the Excalibur will probably be next. It has that old castle look to it, which is
Yeah.
kind of timed out and stuff. And people really like the destination looks, like the Bellagio, the Caesars, the New York. They like those look of like they left the country to go somewhere else, or Paris, all that kind of stuff. It gives them a feeling like they don't travel somewhere and they're still here in the United States.
I stayed in Excalibur right after they built it, and that was
Mhm.
nice. It was a nice,
Yeah.
nice casino.
Yeah.
Stay out of North Las Vegas if you go there. If that's one suggestion I could give you, don't go to North Las Vegas.
Well, that's where the people live. The northeast end.
That's
of
where
Vegas.
the bad area is, though.
Yeah, but
North
I mean
Las
that's where
Vegas has always been a bad area.
yeah, but I
You
mean,
gotta know,
if you're trying
The
to find
nice
some
bit is Henderson.
nice local food that don't cost your arm and a leg, that's where you gotta go.
The real nice area is up where Tom lives, up in Henderson. That's a nice area.
Yeah, well, it's the newer community because Henderson was,
Yeah.
like I say, it's a lot of open space. Most of the housing over here is either planned communities, gated communities and stuff. And like
Sure.
when we went out, like I say, where my timeshare is at is on South Las Vegas Boulevard, just about a half a mile east of the South Point. And then I drove, like I say, 15 minutes away to the southwest to go further into Henderson, where it's more like a suburban sprawl area. Like I say,
A
gated
lot of
community.
retirees up there.
Yeah, stuff like that. And like I say, the place we had it at was almost like a outdoor walking mall. they had this event at, for the meet and greet and everything else, which had the rooms that Bob was telling everybody to stay at. It had its own little casino area and a hotel there. And then about a block away is all these, regular stores, you go shopping at, and the regular restaurants like Lucille's and other restaurants like that, you would come eat at, and it's all within a block or so walking space.
Well, Tom said he always realized he moved to a retirement community when 90% of his conversations with his neighbors is what new medications they were on. That's what he was telling us one day on my show.
Yeah.
He goes, that's like
funny.
90% of the conversations I have with my neighbors is what medications we're on now.
Yeah, well, that's part of life, dude. You get to a certain age, and like I was telling my wife, Friday night, I was telling her, I said, for the amount of people that were there, I told my wife, I said, the majority of them are younger than me. And I mean, just not that I think I look all that great or in great shape or anything, but there's a lot of folks with a lot of issues on a lot of medications that are younger than I am. So that's just a part of life, man. You got to try to take care of yourself.
I get to see fucking Dre out there. He's all flexing and shit like, oh.
Oh man. But it's funny. I mean, it's good to get away. That's what I say, even though, like my wife and I were on the tail end of our careers and about to retire in a few years, but it's still good just to get away from home, even though it might be only 2 days, 3 days, And our thing is we take a lot of mini vacations. Like I said, we'll go up to Solvang, California in spring break. Like this year earlier, we went to Virginia for a week. We'll go up to Solvang for a week, just to get away from the house, relax, spend a little time with each other, stuff like that. I was talking to the guys from Pilot Institute, and I was asking them about Flagstaff because I want to go out there and just look around and see what it looks like, because I'm still looking at places that I may need to go live when I retire. And,
is that a senior community? Is Flagstaff?
Flagstaff is surrounded by senior community because Sedona, I remember as a kid back in the 70s and stuff, he's had a little info commercial, them selling plots of land in Sedona, Arizona. You can get, acres of land for $1,000 and all this kind of stuff, back in those days.
Well, it's because Arizona is like the Florida of the West Coast for retirement.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Yeah. So I can say, I want to go out there and take a look at it. And I say, I'm interested because I don't want to go where it's extremely hot, like in Phoenix or Tucson area. Flagstaff gives you a couple of seasons because they do get a little bit of snow there, which tells me they get it maybe a spring, you get a winter, and obviously you get a summer and stuff. So that area interests me. So I want to go up there probably within the next year or so and spend maybe a week out there and just see what it's like. And so I'll probably go down to Pilot Institute. I think they're about an hour southwest of Flagstaff and check out their facility.
Yeah, if there's 2 states that most people retire to, it's either going to be Florida or Arizona for sure.
Yeah.
Well, have you noticed, Dre, is there as big a exit or a mass exit from California?
Not as much as I think they publicize it. And the reason for that, Paul, is still, California has always had that trend where people come here from other states because of the wages that we get paid out here. And then when they retire, they move back to wherever they came from or where they want to retire to because the cost of living is high in California. And that's always been the trend. That's always been a trend in California. People come here to work and they go back to a lot of them return to the South and stuff to retire.
Well, you think about it too, like if you live up in New York City, like New York, or like in California, you work for 20, 30 years, you build up a good retirement, and then you move
Right.
to like a cheaper Midwest state or something like that. You can stretch
Right.
your retirement way out a lot
Right.
farther and you a lot more disposable income.
Right. That's the whole plan. You know, they say, hey, you know, it's still going to cost us XYZ dollars to live here in California, especially certain parts. I mean, Southern California or the Bay Area, it is very expensive to continue to live there when you retire, when you're only bringing home half of what you used to make and everything. So you look at, well, okay, let's look at areas we could sell our house for you know, a lot more than anywhere else. We can buy a very nice house or bigger house if that's your desire or whatever, buy something that's all you need and have a little nest egg to live off of with your retirement.
Oh yeah, if somebody from like California or New York moved to like where Ron lives, oh, they'd be living like a king.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I tell people, I think it was it was a drone job. Somebody posted in one of the Facebook groups down in Laredo, Texas. And they were, you know, they advertised the job as a drone operator for the police department. And they were offering something like $55,000 a year. And a lot of these guys said, well, that's too low. I said, dude, I said, look at what the regular police officers make in Laredo, Texas. Starting off in Laredo, Texas, regular first year officer makes 55 grand a year. I said, you really can't base everything off what the cost of living is where you're at right now. So I always tell them, I said, you got to look at what the cost of living is at where the job is located.
Right.
And I
remember
mean, for most jobs, that's not a bad starting base pay.
No, that's not a bad. I say most areas of the country, period. If you start off making 55 grand a year, you do okay. You know, you can
Right.
always do a lot more, but I always tell folks, when you make a lot more, the cost of living is going to be a lot more. It ain't like I always tell people, you're not getting ahead of the game. You just be able to maintain the game, maintain your status in the game for the most part.
Most
You know,
people won't live at the same means that they were living. If they make more money, they'll actually up their
that's
their
just natural.
lifestyle, which puts them in the same boat as they were before. Because now
That's
instead of
just a
having
natural tendency.
right, instead of having
Yeah,
one
that's just a
used
natural
car,
tendency of what
they'll go
people
buy
do.
2 new cars, and now they got 2 car payments, you know, and they'll get a
Right.
nicer house, and then they end up
Mhm.
paying, you know, more to live because they're making more money.
Yeah, so I mean, once I explained that to the folks in the group who are all crying about, well, that's such low wage. Everybody think flying a drone, you're supposed to automatically make 6 figures. I said, man,
Yeah.
it's less than 1% of people who fly drones full time make 6 figures. Less than 1%.
Might make 6 figures if you got a
And how
decimal
can
in
you
it.
well, how can you really say that too? Because it's kind of a new market, and it's like, how are you really basing that
Yeah, well, they were
argument?
their
I
argument
mean,
was that the job required that you had to have a 4-year degree and and basically have a Part 107. That was the 2 main requirements of the job. And a lot of
was
these
it like,
guys were crying about it. I said, dude, there's a lot of folks with 4-year degrees starting off at any business in a lot of locations in this country that are barely getting $50,000 a year starting
shit,
off.
there's a lot of police departments now that are requiring you have a criminal justice degree.
Yeah.
Right.
There's some of them that require that.
Yeah.
That includes also full benefit package.
Yeah. So I always tell people, I said, you make 55 grand a year. Your benefit package usually is worth about another 20 grand. So you're actually living off a $70,000 a year starting salary, benefits included. And anybody knows about people who work in law enforcement know there's always going to be overtime because you have court time and regular working extra shifts to cover anything else that might be going on. So even though 55 might be where you started at, you'll probably make close to 70 in your salary.
Yeah.
Because I tell people when I started law enforcement in the 90s, I made $16 an hour coming out of the academy. Okay, that's minimum wage level today.
That wouldn't have been that bad in the 90s.
Yeah,
That would have been pretty decent money.
I use it as a reference to folks that said that's what
Right.
I made back then. But I still made back then in the 90s, still made close to $50,000 a year because of all the court costs, time I was getting, overtime shifts I was getting. I was still made over 50 grand and stuff.
Well, yeah, and back then the cost of living wasn't anywhere as near it is today.
Right. And that's what I said, the cost of
You could
living.
take the family out to dinner for $25. And that
Well,
includes-
back in the late early '90s, what a normal, just say everyday job would have paid what, $6-7 an hour,
What's that,
roughly.
Justin?
Like a
I didn't
regular job, like a normal job back in the '90s, early '90s would have paid what, $6-7 an hour, roughly.
Yeah, I remember working
So-
for Mervin's at a warehouse and making $6.50 an hour back in the 80s. And I thought I was making big money back then.
Well, back in the 70s, minimum wage was $1.65 here.
Yeah.
I
And
don't know,
like-
because I never got paid hourly. I only got paid annually. But
Yeah.
when I started work in 1983 at Manchester, I was on £6,780 a year.
Mhm.
And then when I left in 2009, I was on just over £30,000 a year.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, and that's the thing, like I said, some law enforcement agencies now are requiring a bachelor's in criminal justice. That's a
Mhm.
minimum 4-year degree right there.
Yeah,
I was
that
just
is
looking
the
it
four-
up.
That
Yeah.
is the 4-year degree.
Takes
That
four,
is a
yeah.
4-year degree. And like I say, it's that's why I said they're trying to make sure that the amount of money they're paying you, that there is a certain level of qualification for you to meet for that kind of money. But people just don't get it sometimes. They think everybody's supposed, like I say, they think, oh, 4-year degree, I'm supposed to make 6 figures. I said, dude, there's a lot of folks who graduate and get their hands on a 6-figure job within the first 20 years they work there and stuff. There's a lot of folks making between $50,000 and $70,000 with 4-year degrees all day long. And that's why they can't afford to pay back them student loans.
Mm.
Well, what
Yeah.
Lance is saying, in
JDF,
chat, he says, Dre,
Rod.
your wife gets paid a lot more money to be a teacher in California compared to most states.
Yeah. And my wife's a classic example. My wife makes, over 6 figures. She's a teacher. I said two highest paid states in the country for teachers is Rhode Island, I believe it is, and California.
very few places you get anywhere near 6 figures in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, a lot of state troopers in most states, their average starting salary is only like 40 to 50,000.
Yeah, but that's why I say when I hear people get in Facebook groups and they think because you got a Part 107, you're like like a god or something. Like, dude, I can train monkeys to fly drones.
Well, like I said, and what are they basing that argument on?
do.
Because, like you said, there's not like everybody out there flying drones is making 6 figures. So how are you going to go to a company and say, "Well, I deserve 6 figures"? What are you basing that off of? Just what you
that's
think it's worth, right?
And that's my whole point. What are you basing it off of? But besides what you think you're worth, they said they're going to look at the value of what you're bringing to the table. But problem is, people understand, organizations, municipalities, other companies look at what you're bringing to the table. What is the real value of what you are and what you're bringing to the table, and they're going to address it accordingly based upon the local cost of living. They're not going to pay you New York City wages or California
Midwest,
wages, and you're down there in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Right,
or like South Dakota or something like that. Yeah.
At least the food will be good.
Yeah, it would be because everybody worked there. Said, well, I remember our police department had a part of their agreement with the city and how they based the officer salary for many years. In San Bernardino was they would take a collection of 5 other cities and be in comparison, and they had to be within a certain range of those cities. But the problem is the cities they were picking were very high income areas. They were picking cities like Irvine, California, outskirts of San Jose. And I said, those cities don't match our city. The average income in those cities is almost close to, 6 figures for the average salary for people who live there, compared to the average salary where I live at is only about 35,000 a year. So I said, how do you justify that, paying your officers that kind of money, and the average citizen, is so out of whack? And then they wonder why none of the local officers live in the city, because they don't have to.
Well, that's
Yeah.
like I've always said about Ron, Ron's like in one of those really good positions. He lives in a really cheap area, but
Mhm.
Ron makes really good money. And that's
Yeah,
it's kind
Ron
of a
puts in a
hard
lot
to
of
thing.
hours.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's kind of a hard thing to get in a more rural, cheaper
Yeah,
area like that. So he's doing really good.
yeah, but like I say, Ron's in an area in high demand of what he does. You realize, once again, there are no hospitals, local hospitals in a lot of areas
Yep.
that he covers. So,
Right.
like I say, now you're an elite individual where your services are in high demand because there is no other competition against what you like Ron said, they're flying a couple hours to somebody who thinks they're having a heart attack, and all they gotta do is have a good fart, you know? And that's what I'm saying, that these folks think they're about to die. They show up and then say, no, say, oh man, let me bill you over and pat you on the back and let you belch out something. You're good to go.
Uh,
And that's why I say that, where you live at determines the value of what you may need, what you do, for what it's worth. Like I say, Ron, works a long shift, goes on a lot of calls that if there was local medical facilities available 24 hours a day for people to show up at, Ron would make a lot less money because his value wouldn't be as high.
right. So that's why I said he kind of has one of those things that a lot of people in those areas would like to have a good paying job like that, but
Mhm.
not everybody does.
Yeah. Last year, 100% right. And that's why I say my wife has a master's degree in math. And she's like toward the end of her career, so she's at the top of that pay scale.
The average in Florida is starting off as 55,000,
Yeah.
but they're also giving that $5,000 or $10,000 bonus or something if you move to Florida.
Yeah. Well, that's just for them to move there. It ain't every year.
No, it's just a bonus you get for moving here to start
Yeah.
working.
Because I remember when cities were doing that for a while in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were giving like little small bonuses, like $5,000 for like uh planners and inspectors, because cities had allowed themselves to fall behind on the pay scale compared to the private sector, and they couldn't get nobody to come work.
Oh yeah, they did that over here as well.
Yeah,
You
so they
work,
were offering
you
out
work,
little hiring bonuses to entice
yeah,
people to come work for cities and
you
counties and stuff.
yeah, you work for the public sector instead of the private sector, and your wage increase every year was way lower.
Hmm.
You
And we're
quite
still fighting
simply
that
got
battle.
yeah,
To me, it doesn't make any sense how we have to negotiate a cost of living wage when it should be cost of living wage increase should be every year. This is how you
yeah,
counterbalance inflation. Is when we call it COLA, which is base short name for cost of living allowance. And I say a COLA usually averages between 2.5 to maybe 3.5% every year. But you got organizations and groups that feel like it's some kind of special incentive pay and don't want to pay it out every year. I said, you wonder why you have such a high turnover of employees,
oh
because
yeah,
they can't keep
there's some,
living on what you're paying them. Because like I
yeah,
say, inflation goes up. It always has. And I always tell people there's nowhere in history of the world where wages outpaced inflation.
yeah.
It's never happened.
Yep.
I mean, there were years when I was working that our pay rise was only like 1% a year,
Mm-hmm. Because
and
I remember like
I think the
in
best
Joe
pay
Prime Minister
rise,
in the military.
yeah, I think the best pay rise that I got was only the couple of years ago with COVID when inflation went up to 11%, and I got an 11% increase on my pension. which I thought was quite reasonable.
Well, I was about to say what Joe and I probably remember is, every year the military gives a coal allowance, and we remember that would just cover the taxes on our
Yeah.
paychecks. So we actually was making that, the year we got the coal allowance, we actually were making what we should have got the year before.
You
Yeah.
got a point.
Yeah.
It's like Social
Yeah, well,
Security right now. I think I'm getting 2.9%. Like,
Yeah.
what's that gonna do?
Yeah, and like I say, usually it's about the same. That's why I say anywhere between 2.5 and maybe 3.5 is about average. And usually what that money is money that covers the taxes that you paid the year before that you're actually at that level now.
What they do last year, Social Security was like 7.9 or something like that. It was a bigger increase, right? That big increase knocked me out of the Medicare part,
Mhm.
where now I've got to pay for my Medicare B.
Yeah,
So I'm losing money.
yeah. So I can say it's I can say it's never a win-win. It just keeps you right at where you're at. That's all it
Yeah.
is.
Put me $23 over the limit.
Yep. So it keeps
So
you right where
now
you're at.
I'm losing money in the deal. Because
Mhm.
that Medicare side didn't raise their income level. They left it.
Mm.
So it knocked me
Yeah.
out.
That Medicare should have increased by inflation the same as everything else, really.
But they don't do that.
Right.
Yeah, they're about to get a 7% increase, Lance. They were talking about it the other day in our meeting.
Mississippi?
No, all the teachers and stuff in the
Oh,
state.
Florida.
Yeah, they're
Now,
going to
so
go
I
to
look-
an average, I think, of 59,000-60,000 a year.
Now, when I look at states like Mississippi, all I can do is shake my head because I look at that and said, how can a state in the 21st century still don't have the ability to produce clean water for its residents and can't pay educators what they really should be getting paid? I said, that's ridiculous to me. Where you have situations like that, and even up in Paul, Michigan, how you have an entire city being
Oh,
poisoned,
Flint?
being poisoned by unclean water. And like I said, this is what you call putting stuff on the back burner because you have no value on the human lives that it's impacting. I said, people, like I say, getting different diseases because the water's not clean or can't drink the water. They got to boil it before they bathe in it. They got to boil it before they drink it. All this kind of craziness and stuff, man. That don't make any sense. I said, that is something I used to see growing up when I was born in the 60s, where a lot of this infrastructure was still being built from the 50s on. Like I say, America had its biggest infrastructure boom post World War II when all the soldiers came back, and all through the 50s, all these new housing was being built, all the bridges were being built, and everything else. And that carried to the 50s into the 60s, but they didn't maintain it. They think once you build this stuff, and it was all paid with federal money on these federal projects. When Eisenhower was president, all these big infrastructure bills that came through, they kept renewing it every election period, but the money wasn't spent where it was supposed to be spent. So like I said, that's what I shake my head at,
Yeah,
And
that
I
whole
think,
Flint, Michigan thing is crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. And all it was is you can't tell me, said, we didn't have no money. I said, bull crap. You had money.
You're
You
telling
just
me you
decided
can't
not to spend it.
file there's government grants and shit out there that they could
All
probably
the
get.
time. All
Yeah,
the time.
that's bullshit.
Yeah. And then, like I said, it took Deion Sanders' football team to expose what was going on in Mississippi about the water. Where he's talking about the players had to go stay in one of the nicer hotels in the city that he took out of his own pocket to pay for so they could at least bathe in clean water after practices
Oh,
and
what
stuff.
did the hotel have, like a filtration system and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, the hotel had a
Uh,
nice system, but I said the regular water in the city was trash
it's
and
crazy.
stuff.
Must have been Bay St. Louis. If Bay St. Louis down there, you go, the water comes out, it smells like that rotten egg water.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like what you would get like if. That's why some cities that's the way the water would smell here in Florida if they didn't filter it,
Mm-hmm.
because you're getting that swampy you
Right.
know, type water, and that's why they have to filter it all. But
Right.
see, like we have two different water lines. We have the reclaimed water and the drinking water. The reclaimed water that goes to all your outside taps and your sprinkler systems, that
Right.
will have a little bit of that smell, but because it's like half filtered, it's not
Yeah, it's
fully
just,
filtered.
yeah, like I said, we used to call that non-potable water.
But it's
So
not
which-
smelly. It doesn't like you go by somebody's house, you're like, oh, you don't really smell it.
Yeah.
But it
No,
does
it's
have
like
a
I said,
light smell.
it doesn't
So
get
what
what's
you're
called
saying is you
room
better-
consumption treatment.
Yeah, you better hope your plumber's not dyslexic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
because
I
you
can
actually
say
have
it just,
two water meters.
yeah, that's why I say it just baffled me and how, especially municipalities misuse funding that they get to take care of their infrastructure, and they choose to ignore it. And they use the money on other little pet projects in their communities to keep them elected in their seats. Instead of doing what they're supposed to be doing, taking care of the welfare of the entire area.
Well, it's kind of funny though, too, in some of these places, they complain about all that stuff, but yet they keep voting the same people in. It's like, you think
Well,
you would
like I
try
say,
something different to see if you get
just
a
like I
different
just said,
result.
Justin, when people look at, well, what have you done for me lately? And the politicians say, well, I got certain roads paved, or I got this, the trees are all trimmed up and looking nice, but don't drink the water.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. I said, you guys are focused on the wrong part. Sometimes you have to do certain things to make sure that the real issues of everyday life can continue and thrive and be improved, and stop looking for the aesthetic things that people just see. And
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what the whole game is about. Well, yeah,
that's
did you drive?
really low pay for
Did you
Hawaii,
see the
Lance.
tree trim? Did you see how nice the park look and everything else?
Yeah, but then when you get into your bath, when you
get
get into your shower, it's like an acid bath.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I remember after the big earthquake in I think it was 1970, 71, the Sylmar quake in California, and we had to boil our water for about at least 3 to 6 months afterwards for a while, and the water that came out of the tap came out almost with a yellowish tint
Yeah.
and stuff, because a lot of the water system got damaged from that quake and stuff. And it took a while for the Department of Water and Power in LA to get that stuff squared away and stuff, man.
Yeah, 59,000 a year for a teacher in Hawaii. Yeah, that's not a lot of money
Yeah.
because Hawaii is crazy expensive. It's almost like
Yeah.
Alaska. Living in Alaska
Mhm.
is crazy expensive.
Now Alaska pays good money to their educators, because I have a uncle. When he was in the military, he extended his tour time in Hawaii because his wife was making what a principal would make down here in the lower 48.
Mm.
He was making good money up there as a teacher.
Yeah, and you go to those little mom and pop stores in those little Alaska towns, and a 12-pack of soda is like $52. It's like,
Mhm.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Good.
I've never been to Hawaii, but I've always heard it's crazy expensive there.
It is, and like I said, Hawaii lends itself to the European level. They don't do gallons for gas; they do liters there, and a lot of stuff on the shelves is like the metric system also.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, you buy gas by the liter, you get milk by the liters, and whatever else measurements there. Mark could probably tell me more about it. Hawaii, goes off that system.
We still use both.
Hmm.
You buy a carton of milk and it tells you how many liters and how many pints is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the UK is actually unique because I think they're the only country that actually uses like both systems.
Mm.
Well, I mean, technically, I would say certain professions here in the US, you're going to use both systems. Like, especially if you're in the science, like in the science community, if you're a mechanic, you're going to use the metric system and you'll use both systems because you got to you'll have millimeter wrenches, you'll have standard wrenches.
Well,
It's
our
mechanics
construction
definitely.
industry is the most confusing part, because like say for carpentry work, you use standard inches, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
If you do asphalt paving, you use a metric system. We use tenths.
Yeah, or millimeters and centimeters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. You're doing paving work. And then you do concrete work, you go by yards and stuff. And then
Cubic yards, yeah.
right, you use cubic yards for concrete work. And the same thing, similar when you're doing hauling for trucks, you go by how many yards is in the truck.
Mhm.
Or they go by tonnage.
Yeah.
Which are all different ways of measurements from each other.
And there are different tons as well. There's the UK,
Right.
there's the imperial ton, which is 2,270 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is the metric ton, which is
Right.
1,000 kilograms,
Right.
When you're
Which
moving
is-
cocaine,
which
you
is-
go by metric tons.
which is 2,200.
You know too much about that, Joseph.
Yeah.
There's
I've
not a
heard
lot of
things.
difference. I mean, a
Too
metric,
much information.
it's still 2,200 pounds in a
Mhm.
metric ton.
Yeah, so it depending on what field work that you're in, that you work around, you maybe learn a whole new system just to work in that field.
Yeah, a lot of our surveying was done in the metric system.
Yep. Yep. Which always baffled me is because, like I say, we use acreage is not a common way of measuring land, but the same thing.
No, but it used to be.
Used to be. Like I
And
say,
now
the
it's
metric
hectares.
system is totally weird.
They do
Right, and
hectares now.
Like when you're doing like I said in mechanics, when you're doing wrench conversions,
Mm-hmm.
5/16 is 8 millimeters, 3/8 is 10 millimeters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to know all that. 15
And like
16
I
is
said,
24.
and that's what makes being a mechanic a pain in the butt. And when you get vehicles that are made by one vehicle made by two different companies, which we've had a lot of, where they merged together to put the vehicles. So half the cars is standard, the other half of the car is in metric.
Yeah, you
You
got
need both set of tools to work on one car.
your spanner measurements are either in Whitworth or across flats.
Mhm.
AF.
The only thing was consistent that you go righty to tighten and lefty loosey to loosen it up. That's the only thing been consistent.
Not necessarily. A lot of them have left-hand threads, so you have to do them the other way around. It all depends on in which direction the actual thing runs.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, if you look at the science fields too, like if you're working at NASA, you're probably going to use more of the metric system. They
very
tend to
much
use
so.
more metric.
Yeah, very much so. I can imagine. And like I say, you go into chemistry work, you're dealing with the metric system in chemistry work.
Lots of different things in chemistry.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying that they'll do like milliliters instead of using ounces.
Yeah.
They do milliliters and millimolecules. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, if you go into a pharmacy over here, they use the metric.
Mhm.
don't
And they
use
have
standard.
a third temperature scale, degrees absolute as well.
Oh yeah, Dre, did you see that company over here had a successful fusion test that they held it at 380 some million degrees for 24-hour period,
Wow.
and they beat some other company out of Korea, I think it was,
Mm-hmm.
that did 100 and something million for 24 hours.
And like David said, it put global warming back 3 years.
I don't
I want to know how they measured that shit.
that That's what I'm saying. That's pretty high tech shit right there. Like, how do you even contain that kind of heat? That's fucking insane.
That's a hell of a thermometer.
Fucking, you hit it with the laser thermometer, you're just gonna fucking confuse it.
Mm.
It's just
Hey,
gonna
Dre, I
start
sent
blinking
you
too
your
hot.
picture you put up there. I
Ouch.
tweaked it a little bit and sent it back to you. I got all the grain out of it.
Oh, you're muted, Dre, by the way. Yeah, know that. I don't know if he's.
Yeah, I knew. I muted
Oh,
myself.
okay.
Hey.
Yeah.
What is this? Is this? Look at that.
What do you think, Justin?
The stock market's gone up.
Well, I was thinking
That's-
about going down and catching a ship real quick. It stopped raining. You guys want to continue on?
I don't know. Man. Actually, no, I'm about to jump off because Laura's probably
Okay.
going live here in a little bit.
Well, I think we'll call it then. Dre, hey, thanks for stopping by.
Oh, sure.
Hey,
You know,
have a
I don't want
safe-
you. I don't want you to think I forgot about you just because I'm out here with rubbing elbows with
Okay,
the big
have a
wigs.
safe
Bro,
trip
you
home.
hold on,
Mark,
hold on,
Lady,
Dre. Yeah, Dre, you better get your ass on the road, bro. You're gonna hit that Sunday traffic trying to get back into
We're gonna be
California
leaving
on the
probably within the
15th.
next hour or so. Yeah.
Okay. All right,
I'll
everybody.
catch you
Mark,
later.
All right, later.
go.
Later.
Justin, have a good fight this afternoon, Justin.
Good flight.
A fight.
Oh, I ain't flying anywhere. All right, I'll catch you later.
Okay.